Today I'm going to make a classic Roman pasta, cacio e pepe. Cacio is actually just another word for cheese. I have lived in Italy for 19 years, but it wasn't until I moved to Rome that I discovered this delicious, amazing pasta. It's very easy. Well, it seems very easy. All you need are 3 ingredients: a really good pasta, pecorino romano, and black pepper. What could go wrong? I'm going to give you a few little hints throughout the recipe because if you do not pay attention and temperatures are too hot, the cheese could separate and you can end up with a clumpy mess. So let's start. A pecorino romano. Pecorino is made from sheep's milk. Now I buy this from my deli and I get them to grate it for me. On the day that I do the recipe, I actually keep it out of the fridge for a couple of hours beforehand. I usually buy it the day I'm going to make the pasta. I don't want to use it cold from the fridge, so I keep it at room temperature. Then all we need to do is add our black pepper. Now how much black pepper you add is up to your personal taste. Cacio e pepe celebrates 2 great ingredients, so let's be generous with our black pepper. I can already smell the pepper. It's a beautiful, beautiful aroma. I'm just going to give it a mix because I just want to see the proportion of pepper to cheese. So you want your cheese to have a dirty look. All that's left now is to bring to the boil a large saucepan of water. We will add salt to the water only once it's boiling, and then we're going to add our pasta, paying close attention to the cooking times of the pasta. So our water's boiling. I'm going to add salt. Now I'm going to add a little bit less salt than I normally would for when I cook pasta because our pecorino is really, really salty. I'm using spaghetti for our cacio e pepe. I tried to guess a portion for 1 person. I usually get this wrong and I always cook too much. Better too much than not enough is what I say though. Okay, so we're going to add this to the water, and I know that this pasta cooks for 9 or 10 minutes. I'm going to put, I usually put 8 minutes on my timer because I want to check it before. I don't want it to cook too much. Okay. Now it's while the pasta is cooking that the most important part of this recipe happens. I'm going to add the water that our pasta is cooking in to our pecorino cheese mix. We have to be really careful though. This is boiling hot. If I add it straight away to the cheese, my cheese can seize and separate and end up in a clumpy mess, which we do not want. So what I often do is while the pasta's cooking, I remove a little bit of water with a ladle and I'll pop it in a separate bowl. So it's still going to be hot when I add it to the cheese, but it's got a little bit of time from the saucepan to the cheese. I'll confess that every time I make cacio e pepe, sometimes the result is a bit different. Sometimes the sauce is thicker, sometimes it's more liquid. You don't want it too runny and you don't want it too thick. So it's up to you to find a nice consistency to make it nice and creamy. Okay, so I'm going to add the water now to my cheese, a little bit at a time. You can do this by hand, or you could even use a little food processor that's going to make it creamier. Either way works. It was actually a Roman nonna who suggested that I use the food processor because I used to always do it by hand, and she said, "Toni, use the food processor, it's much quicker." She's right, it actually helps to give you a beautiful, smoother, creamier sauce for your pasta. Okay, so as you can see, I'm not throwing all the water in at once. It's just a gradual process, adding a bit of water and stirring it. We've already got a thick paste, but we really needed a bit more liquid for our pasta. If you want, at this point, you could actually taste it to see if it needs more black pepper or not. The pasta's ready, but I'm not going to just drain it and tip it straight into the pecorino mixture. That would be a big error. The pasta's going to be too hot. So I put it into a separate bowl just to allow a little bit of time for it to cool down, a little bit of that heat to come off it. So what we're going to do is we're going to add it slowly, a little bit at a time as well. So first piece goes in. Stir vigorously. If you're worried that at this stage it's too dense, nothing's stopping you from adding a little bit more water give it a last mix. So I'm just going to add a little bit, and we're going to stir vigorously. So as you can see, this is actually, it didn't look like I was cooking much pasta, but it's actually a very big portion for one. It's actually probably 2 nice sized portions. It's not quite finished yet. We're going to add a little bit more pecorino on top, and why not, just a little bit of extra black pepper. And all that's left to say now is buon appetito.